Hi everyone, welcome to a new weekly market forecast. My name is Justin Bennett with Daily Price Action, and in today's forecast we're going to talk about the euro, the pound, gold or XAUUSD, as well as two cryptocurrencies, Ethereum and VeChain. The Forex market continues to be pretty slow, but cryptocurrencies are just getting going, and even though we've seen incredible returns from Ethereum and VeChain, I do think that there's a lot more in store this year. So let's get to it right now. A quick disclaimer that today's video is for educational purposes only. All views are my opinion and are not intended as investment advice. Forex is a high reward, high risk business, and you should not trade with borrowed money or money you cannot afford to lose. See the description of this video for the full disclaimer. So first up we have the EURUSD, and we've been looking at this 121.50 level over the past few weeks. You can see where it was resistance back here. It then flipped to support, we had a close below it, and it was resistance again. Now, last week I did say that I wouldn't be surprised to see a daily close back above 121.50, and we got that on Thursday. However, I do want to say that the pair right now is just sideways. There's no momentum here, even though this uptrend is intact. So similar to the price action back here, you can see something similar happening right now, where we're just getting this sideways movement, and there's little to no momentum. So this is when you have to be really careful because, again, even though we have this uptrend in place, this sideways consolidation means that the EURUSD could move lower back down toward this trend line around 120, or we could get that push back into 123.30. So if you don't have a position on here, it might be best to stand aside and wait for a clear direction. I still have part of my long position on from this candle down here. I did take some profit recently through this consolidation, and I'm just waiting now to see if I should take the rest off and we will get a retest of that 120 area, or if I should keep it on and potentially add more to it if we start getting upward momentum this week toward 123.30. But all in all, looking at the monthly time frame, you can see that the EURUSD is still holding well above this multi-year triangle. So we had this breakout back here in July, the pair moved sideways for several months, and we then got this breakout. So I continue to treat any pullbacks here as buying opportunities as long as the pair is carving these higher lows and higher highs. I also think that this recent pullback is nothing more than a reversion to the mean. In other words, if you look at where the 10 and 20 EMAs are right here, I use this as the mean or average price, and on the monthly time frame you can see how far extended the EURUSD is from these two moving averages. So we could either see the pair move sideways for a while, or perhaps it pulls back a little bit further down into that 120 area. Either way, I do think it needs to consolidate for at least another week or two, if not more, before we do get that next leg higher into that 125 area. Alternatively, if we see the daily time frame move lower and take out that 120 area, that would be a signal of weakness and could expose some of these recent highs back here, perhaps even that 116.15 area. Next up, we have the pound or GBPUSD. We're looking at the weekly time frame here, and unlike the euro, it's a little bit harder to determine where the pound could go from here, simply because the pair has been moving sideways for several years. So I mentioned recently how this 134.80 area should serve as support right now, and you can see where so far that has been the case. On the weekly time frame, we did see a recent bounce from that 134.80 area. However, as I said last weekend and the week before, this region right around 137, notice this low back here, that area right now is still resistance. And even though we did get a daily close above it last week, I still think that the pair needs to get above 137 on the weekly time frame in order to expose that 143.50 area. Notice how that was the double top back here, and it would be a logical longer term target if the pair can close a week above 137. So as of right now, I do like the pair higher, but again, it has to get above 137 on the weekly time frame. Until that happens, expect this sideways movement to continue. And if we do see the pair close a week below 134.80, that would negate this bullish outlook and perhaps send the pair lower down towards some of these recent lows right around that 132 handle. Gold or XAUUSD didn't move very far last week. We saw a lot of sideways movement from the pair, and it's all occurring within this descending channel. All right, so we had this uptrend last year. Here was the March low. We then had this uptrend followed by capitulation right around that 2075 area. So notice how this sell-off right here, this was the capitulation, and ever since then, we've gotten an essentially sideways market. But I do think that looking at this structure, And given this uptrend that's been in place for several years, I do like gold higher this year, but buyers still have to take out that 1930 area. So right around $1,930, that's going to be resistance. We need to see a daily and weekly close above this area to re-expose some of these recent highs along with 2075. However, just as I said a while back, the measured objective for this bull flag does come in right around 2380. So $2,380, that's essentially the distance from this March low to this high at 2075. So if we take this distance and measure from this low to a higher point in the market, we do get that 2380 area. But again, buyers are going to have to take out this channel resistance in order for that to happen. Alternatively, a move lower over the coming weeks should find support somewhere around 1780. If we get a move below that, look toward that 1700 area, which is the bottom of that descending channel. Next up, we have the cryptocurrency Ethereum, ETH, and I've been talking about this one ever since it was consolidating back here in May and June, and I was accumulating through this area right around $230 to $250. I was also buying on this dip as well as this breakout. I talked about both of these on the blog, and you can see where Ethereum is trading just below its previous all-time high, somewhere around $1,440. So this area was retested last week. The pair didn't quite get above it. It did pull back some, but obviously the uptrend is still very much intact. Furthermore, I talked recently about how Bitcoin, after retesting $20,000, went sideways for a couple weeks and eventually doubled in price over 24 days. And that's why I do think that once Ethereum breaks out above 1440, so at least a daily close above that area, I do think that we're going to see Ethereum head toward that $3,000 area within the next few weeks. Now, the exact timing of that is unknown, of course, but I do expect it to happen by the end of February. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Ethereum break out within the next week or two and start to make that move toward that $3,000 area or higher. That said, I won't be selling at $3,000 because I do think that Ethereum is going to go much higher in 2021. Now, in terms of the short-term price action, if we look at the 1 hour time frame, so I mentioned this on Twitter earlier, but it does look like Ethereum is trying to break out from a short-term trend line after putting in this V bottom. So this was that pullback on the weekly time frame we just looked at, and you can see here where we had this V bottom recovery, and the pair has just gone sideways now. But the way it's hovering just below this trend line does make me think that Ethereum wants to break out from this trend line and head back toward that 1440 area. So we'll see how this goes, but again, I do expect a daily close above that 1440 area within the next week or two. And once that happens, $3,000 or perhaps even higher could come within a matter of weeks, in my opinion. Last but certainly not least is VeChain or VET. This is another cryptocurrency that I've been talking about since June of last year, back when it was trading around 0.008. And ever since that time, it has gained about 300% just below that. So it's been an incredible run so far, even though we had this recent dip, which, by the way, I was accumulating through here, and I was also buying up here, believe it or not. But then I averaged down through this area. I was basically dollar cost averaging this entire time. And so my average, even though it's a little bit above a penny, is still in the green. Now, what I want to talk about today is this 2018 trend line. So in my opinion, this is the last level before we get a blue sky breakout for VET. All right, so you can see how significant this trend line has been ever since 2018. And right now on the weekly time frame, VET is having a little bit of trouble getting above this, but I do think we're going to see a breakout any week now. You'll also notice how VET has been moving within this ascending channel over the last few months. All right, so I do think that a weekly close above this trend line could send VET up to that 5-cent area and perhaps even 10 cents or higher. Now, later this year, I do expect VET to go much higher than even 10 cents, but I do think that given this channel and also this trend here, that 5 cents and even 10 cents over the next few weeks is logical. All right, I wouldn't be surprised to see a move up here into this 10-cent area, some sideways movement for a few weeks, followed by that next leg higher. But again, buyers are going to have to clear that trend line on the weekly time frame somewhere just above 3 cents, right around 0.032. All right, so 0.032 is going to be the area that buyers have to break to send this up to 5 cents and 10 cents over the next few weeks. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, leave your comment below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. See you next time.